Alright, so we have created our XML file. Now it's time to add some records to it. Before we go too far, I want to just assign this file path to a variable. So I'm going to copy this, create the string, going to be constant string. I'm going to call this XML file and paste the value. Alright, so let's create our method. Static void add records. Let's just make it singular. Add records. All right. So let's just have a little peek at the system.xml. We create the instance, and then we called on the instance to load a file. Our link is going to be slightly different. So let's create a variable, xdocument, and let's call it xdoc. This time we're not going to create the new instance, we're going to call xdocument.load and pass in the path, which we just created up here, XML file. So we're loading the file now. Next, I'm going to create a new X element. Let's call this xmovie equals new X element. And inside our parens, we are open close double quotes and type the name of our node, which is movie. Okay. Next, I'm going to call xdoc.root.add and pass in our new movie node. So another difference between the system.xml, here we selected the node first, the root element first, and then we called append child. In Linq, root is already baked into the system, so we don't have to select it. So we can just call onto xdoc.root and then add, plain add. So that should add the new child. Let's go ahead and print this out. And again, another difference here, we don't have inner XML or things like that. Okay, we can just say console.writeLine xdoc, and that should take care of it. Let's go ahead and call this. All right, let's run this and see what happens. Let me save it before we actually do that. There you go. So another beauty of Linq, the printout is formatted as an XML. So which is a lot more readable than what we had, a long string of XML. All right, so that's another plus. Okay, so now that we added the movie, let's go ahead and add the attribute. So let's create a new attribute, X attribute. Let's call this XID. new X attribute, and inside our parens, let's open close our double quotes and type the name of the attribute, and right after that we're going to say comma, and we'll type in the value that we want the attribute to have and close it out. Now I can call the parent, which is the movie. I can say xmovie dot attribute, well no, actually dot add xid. Alright. No issues found. It's all looking good. Let's run this again. And we have our ID. Beautiful. Alright, next we are going to add the child title. So we're going to create another element. Let's call this xtitle, new x element, and inside here we're going to type the name of the element, and same with the x attribute, we can just say comma, and we can type in the content, which is going to be, let's go with Star Wars. Alright, now let's run this. And it didn't add it. Reason why? Because we didn't tell the parent to add it. So xmovie dot add xtitle. Okay, if we run again, and we have our child node right here. Perfect. Alright, so let's take a look at some of the similarities or differences between the system.xml. So here we created we selected the root. In Linq, we didn't have to select the root. It's already baked into the system. We just call it. Here again, we had to call doc to create element. When we add a new element, here we don't have to. We just create a new instance of the element. All right, and then we call on the parent to add the element. Okay, let's see what else do we have. Again, similarly with the attribute, here we had the value, whereas here we just pass in value right there in the parens. So we don't have to, it's last line of codes, I guess. What else we have here? Again, so we had like 2, 5, 8, 10, 12 lines of codes. Here we have 2, 4, 6, 7, and if we call the save method, that would be like 8. So definitely a lot shorter. Alright, now I'm gonna do something different. I'm going to create an array of movies and then use a for each loop to add them to the file. So I'm going to let's go ahead and from here I can comment this. Comment Yeah, I think. And just gonna comment this whole thing. All right. So let's go down below here. I'm gonna create a string array and call this movies equals. I'm gonna create an array of movies. So let's go with Star Wars. Let's go with Avatar and Scarface. 3 movies should be fine. So now I'm going to create a for each loop. I'm going to say, call this X, or let's call this movie, in for each movie in movies. All right, so we have our for each loop ready. Let's add those to the file. All right, so I'm going to say, actually, you can use this. Now let's type it. X element. Let's call this X movie. New X element. And this is going to be movie child node. Next, I'm going to add, create an attribute, X attribute. XID, let's call, create a new instance. ID. And this is expected. Let's leave this blank for now. Let's go ahead and create another X element. All right. For attribute, I want to create a variable here, type of int. Let's call this I. And let's assign to 1. And here, I'm going to create the ID and then comma, pass in I. So the first one is going to be 1, the ID of 1. And right at the end of here, I want to increase I by 1. Okay, so that should take care of the ID. For the, as far as the title, I'm going to grab the movie here and pass that in. And that should take care of the title. And last thing we want to do, I guess, not the last thing, but the last before the last, I'm going to add to the parent. So xmove dot add we want to add the attribute first, and then add the child node, and finally call on to our root xdoc.root.add the movie xmovie. Okay, so we added the attribute, we added the title, and we added the root. So that should do the job. Let's run this, save and run this. And we have them. We got one movie with the ID of 1 and the value of title of Star Wars. The second movie is ID of 2, title of Avatar. And the third movie is ID of 3 and value title of Scarface. So that's beautiful. Now we're going to comment this out and make this even shorter. It's going to be a single line of code to add this whole thing. So, and to do that, we're going to again create the X element. I'm going to call this X movie again. The name doesn't matter, but all right. So X movie equals new X element. So inside here, we're going to type in first the node that we are creating. After creating our node, we're going to add a new attribute, X attribute, and pass in the name and the value, which is I. Okay, comma. So after adding the movie, comma, new attribute, comma, we're separating the each element with a comma. All right, we can actually break the line here. Let's break the line so it doesn't exceed the screen. We'll go past the screen, and then we're going to create another X element, and this is going to be the title, and the value of the title is going to be the movie, appearing the loop. Okay. Alright, so we have the movie, we have the ID. Let's actually break this line here too. Let's see. We're missing a bracket parens here. Okay. And let's change this to X movie. And that should take care of it. So we create the new element, new X element, typed in the name of the element, then we added a new attribute with the name and value, and then the child node of title along with the value. So let's run this again. We should have the same result, and we do. 1 Star Wars, 2 Avatar, and 3 Scarface. Beautiful. So with one line of code, we added pretty much everything. Now we can save it to the file. So let's call xdoc.save XML file. Save this. Let's open our XML file and let's see in real time how it does it. And there you have it. They're all been added to our XML file. Beautiful. And you can see the power of the link with XML. It's definitely a lot shorter and more fluent, I guess. And that's how you add records to an XML file. All right, thanks for tuning in. See you in the next one.